Hello, cybersecurity professionals. This is Mr. Lang here, and we're working on our Cisco NetAcademy 2412, our Skills Integration Challenge. And so this tutorial is going to kind of go through a few different phases. My first phase is to kind of show you some of the tools that I'm using for this project. The second one is kind of showing you how I've already secured my first switch and what that looks like. And then my last phase is showing you how I secured the switch, how I will be giving those IP addresses so these end devices, our computers, can communicate with our intermediary devices, our switches, throughout a network. So let's go ahead and begin. First of all, I am using Packet Tracer. And Packet Tracer through the Cisco NetAcademy has given us this project with two end devices known as computers that we are actually using, and then the intermediary devices, our switches that kind of happen behind the scenes of how to get data throughout your network. Okay, so they provided this with us. Great tool. All right, another tool that I am using is my engineering notebook. Now, I have chosen to use OneNote from Microsoft Teams or Microsoft Office, and this is a book. So when we were actually working on other projects, I was actually keeping notes of how do I name a switch. Here's the commands on how to name a switch. How do I secure the console? These are some of the configurations of how to do that. How do I secure the privileged exec mode with an encrypted password? How do I give it a message of the day banner, and so on and so forth. Also, configuring a PC. All right, so I have my engineering notebook, which is vital because we're not going to remember how to do all these commands, but make sure that you have your engineering notebook. Crucial for any IT specialist. Another tool that I'm using is Gitkraken. This is associated with GitHub, which allows me to keep my local files on my computer here, but then also to push them up to the internet. So if I'm working at home, I can easily go at home, log onto my computer, pull my projects down from the internet and continue to work on them. All right, so this is crucial in any IT or developer's field, is being able to do that. And I love Gitkraken, and I'll show you more how this works here shortly. All right, so let's go ahead and begin by first having me show you my switch 1 that I've already configured. Oh, I can't do that. I've got a connected console cable. So down here in Packet Tracer, I clicked on my lightning bolt, which gives me access to all these different cables that you may have someday. And I'm going to click on my PC, and in the back of the PC, there's this RS-232 port, and I'm plugging that into that port. I'm going to click on my switch here, and I'm going to connect right to that switch via the console cable. Now I can click on the PC, and I'm going to go ahead and choose the desktop and terminal. And now I'm actually, and choose OK. Now I'm actually in a terminal connected to the switch. All right, and it's asking me for a password. All right, these are things that I've already encrypted and done. I'm going to show you how I did that shortly. But the password to get into the switch is no secret, lowercase x, capital A, W, lowercase w, 6K. All right, and I got that from the document here. And as you can see now, I'm in my switch. All right, but I am in just what they call a console line. All right, if I need to make any changes to the switch, I need to be in the exec mode. So I'm going to choose enable, and I'm going to put in this password, which gives me into into the exec mode. So I'm going to go ahead and type in 6, capital E, B, U, U, and then a lowercase p, and I'll press my enter key, and now my greater than symbol here has turned into a pound symbol there, or a hashtag. And I'm now in my exec mode. I can actually configure my switch, all right, but it's good to have those password protected. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and choose show run so I can see some of the configurations. This is my encrypted password to get in my exec mode. It's not in plain text, very secure, making sure we do that. Here is my IP address that I set up so I can communicate with it. So my IP address is here. My subnet mask is here. We're going to show you how to set that up. I have a message of the day. Warning, this is a secure system. Unauthorized users will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Letting your users know, hey, if somebody tries to get into this, there are consequences. Here's my actual line console password to get into just the console itself. It's encrypted. All right, you cannot see it in plain text. Very important. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do that with our switch 2 here. So I'm going to first go ahead and click on my, click off of my PC and click on the X here to delete that console cable. And I'm going to go ahead and click back on my selection tool. Because now I need to select my console cable to click on my PC, my RS-232, and then click on the switch, the console, so that way I can communicate between the two. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the PC and go back to terminal. Click OK. And now, you guys, I'm going to choose exit here because I was testing something out before. And now I'm in my PC or connected to the PC. I'm going to press my enter key, and you can see I typed in no password. 0 password to get into the switch. If I type in enable to get into the privileged mode so I can actually configure things, that greater than symbol is now a pound symbol. No security whatsoever. Very important to have security here. So if I type in a show run to look at things, all right, no encryption, no password, no encryption to get in the system. I'm going to press my tab or my space bar to get to the bottom of it. No IP address, can't communicate with it. And there is no password for my line console, no message of the day, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to go ahead and type exit here. So I'm back at my switch. Again, I press my enter key to get into it. I'm going to enable to get into my exec mode. And now I'm going to head on over to my engineering notebook. All right. And I'm going to choose my console line to secure it. And here's my notes that I have taken. And so I'm going to go ahead. I'm in my privileged exec mode here. And I am going to type in configure terminal. Now, you don't have to type in all of configure terminal. You can do config T, and that is the same thing, tomato, tomato. I am now in my config mode. I can see my config mode as it tells me to enter configuration commands, 1 per line, in with a control Z if I need to. And so this is my next command I need to do, line console 0. So I'm going to go ahead and type in line console 0. And press my enter key, and now you can see it says config line, and I'm going to type in my password. All right, just following my engineering notebook, and this is where I need to type in my password. I'm going to refer back to my packet tracer document because they want this password right here to be set for my line console. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I type that in. It's very important to type that in exactly as it is asking for. All right, so I'm going to double check that by looking at it. X capital A W6K. X capital A W6K. So I think I've got it right. And I'm going to press my enter key. Going back to my engineering notebook, I need to go ahead and type in login. And then exit. And I'm going to exit one more time to get back to it, and exit one more time to get back to my system. When I press the enter key now, it's asking for a password to actually get in to the switch itself. And so I need to refer back to this password right there. So X6, XA, my bad, capital A W 6K. And as you can see, it didn't show me actually typing that password in, but it did. I am now in the console line. All right. But if I type in enable to get into the privilege exec mode, I could easily get into it. If I type in my show run, and if I go down to the bottom, there's my password. It's in plain text. Not good security, right? So you guys are going to secure that password. So I'm going to go down to this next line down here in my engineering notebook. So I'm going to press my tab key a little bit and config T. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and type in service, password, TAC, encryption. And enter, and I'm going to exit. Okay, and now I'm going to do a show run by just picking my or using my up arrow to get to show run, using my tab or my spacebar key. Now that password encrypted. I do not see what that password is. Hey, we are starting to secure our switch, which is amazing things. Very valuable skills to have out in the IT world. All right, so we're now going to move on to this one. We're going to use this password as our secret password to get into the privileged exec mode. The privileged exec mode, again, is the one with the hashtag there, so that way we can actually make changes. You only want certain people to have access to that. So heading over to my engineering notebook, I'm going to go to my privileged exec mode here. And I'm now, you guys, I'm going to go to my config T. Again, I'm going to use my up arrow to access previous commands that I've typed in. And I'm going to choose enable secret. All right. And now I've got to put in that password. So I'm going to go back to my packet tracer document. And that password is this one right here. And so I'm going to make sure that let me make sure, I think I need a space there. Yes, I do. So I'm going to make sure that I type it in exactly how it needs to be. And that is a 6, capital E, B, U, and then a lowercase k, a lowercase p as in Paul. So I'm just going to double check that, because if I don't and I put in something else, it could mess up the entire rest of I won't be able to get into it anymore. So 6, capital EBU, lowercase p. Looks like I'm good. I'm going to press my enter key. I'm going to go back to my engineering notebook, and I'm going to type in exit. All right, and I am going to now type in exit one more time. Brings me back to my switch, and I'm going to go ahead and get into my switch. This is the console password. So this is the X, capital A, W, 6, lowercase k. I'm in now. If I choose enable, all right, it's asking me for the password to get into the privileged exec mode. Very powerful here. So 6, capital A, B, U, lowercase p. And it is not, why is it not letting me get into my password here? Give me 1 second. Okay, my thumbs might have gotten in the way. I must have typed in the wrong password, but hey, we got it now. Again, I double checked it with the password it gave me. But I'm going to do a show run now, all right? So, I tried to use my up arrow key, but I haven't used this command since I got into the new switch. Now, that password to get into the exec mode is encrypted. Can't see it in plain text. Let me go down. Still no IP address. We're going to work on that soon. But I also have, again, my console line is encrypted. All right, so awesome. So now we just encrypted all clear text password based on, again, my engineering notebook. Thank you, engineering notebook. Make sure you're keeping good notes. So now we want to include a banner, a message of the day. All right, so I'm going to head on over to my engineering notebook. They want us to make sure we use the word warning. So I'm going to go to my message of the day. All right, and so I'm going to go ahead and get into my config T. And I'm going to go ahead and type in banner, MOTD. And I'm going to start with a string with a quote. And I am going to put in some asterisks here and warning in all capital letters, and then maybe 3 more asterisk key. This is a secure network / switch. All unauthorized users will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. 3 asterisks, and then I need to finish it up with my quote to end my string. And I'm just going to double check my banner real quick. Warning, this is a secure network / switch. All unauthorized users will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Awesome. I'm going to press my enter key, and I'm going to go ahead and type in exit. And I'm going to go ahead and press my enter key one more time. And I'm going to type in exit again to get back out. When I press enter, there is my banner. Warning, this is a secured network. All authorized users will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. You would hope that would have people say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to get into this. I'm leaving right now. I shouldn't be here. But you know, you will have some people that will try to get in. That's why we have a password. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my password again. X, capital A, W, 6K. All right, and now I want to get into my exec mode because I need to do a few things there. So 6EBU, lowercase p, and now I'm going to go ahead and do a show run again. And if I press my tab key a few times, there's my message of the day. All right, so we got some more things to do though. We've got our message of the day in there. Now the next thing is configuring addresses for all devices according to the addressing table. All right, so we need to give it an IP address. All right, so I'm going to head on over to my engineering notebook and configure the switch with an IP address. All right, so I'm going to click there so I can see that right about there. So I'm going to head on over here and do a config T. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and type in my interface. VLAN 1. All right, so I'm in my config if right now, again, following my my engineering notebook. I've got things great. So IP address, spacebar. Now I got to refer to this table here in our project, and switch 2 is 10.10.10.150. Spacebar, I need to put in the subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. And I have my subnet mask in now. Again, that is here, my IP address, and then the subnet mask. I'm going to press my enter. And now I'm going to type in no shutdown. All right, and press my enter key. And now it says exactly what it says in my engineering notebook. I'm going to go ahead and press my enter key again and type in exit. And exit one more time. And now I'm going to do my show run. And if I go down to the bottom, I now have an IP address of 10.10.10.150 and a subnet mask. All right. So I want to save that to the RAM. So configure addressing for all devices. I'll come back. I got to configure that IP for the computer, but I want to save my configuration to the RAM. All right. Very important. So I'm going to go to my engineering notebook and go to my NVRAM, and I am going to do this feature here, going to my copy, running, tac, config, spacebar, startup, tac, config. And I'm just going to double check myself real quick, running, copy, running, config. All right, startup, config, good. And destination of your file tells me just to press enter in my engineering notebook. And now those are saved to the RAM. All right. So I've got that done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit save here. Actually, I'm going to bring over my Get Kraken. And when I hit save, you're going to see that now I have a work in progress. If I click on this, that packet tracer, that file has changed now. All right, so I will be pushing this up to the internet shortly. All right, but again, it has changed. I've configured switch 2. I'm not done with my IP address yet, so I will here in a second do that as well, and then I'll push it up to the internet. So I now am going to go ahead and click on my computer and close my console cable, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the computer one more time. And I want to go to the command prompt because I need to configure the IP address for my PC. So going to my engineering notebook, configure PCs with an IP address. So I clicked on my PC. I clicked on the desktop tab, desktop. I clicked on the IP configuration, which I've just have done. Actually, let me go back and do that one more time. So I clicked on the command prompt. So I clicked on the PC. And I'm on desktop. All right, I'm going to go to the command prompt, and now I'm going to go ahead and click on, oh, you know what? My bad. I need to click on the IP configuration. IP configuration. And this brings me to my static configuration. I'm going to go back to my table here, and this is my user 2, my network interface card, and this IP address needs to be 10.10.10.5. And pressing my tab key to get a subnet mask in of 255.255.255.0. All right, and that is now in there. If I would happen, I don't have to hit save or anything. If I close this and click back on the PC and go to my IP configuration, it's stored. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take this console cable off because I don't need it anymore. So click off of my computer, click on my delete, click on that console cable, click back on the selection tool. And I'm going to hit save, all right? And again, now I'm going to head back over to my Get Kraken, and I'm going to commit this to the internet. So I have those saved changes. So if I go home and log onto my computer at home, I'll be able to get to these changes. So 2.4.1.2, and I'm going to say my user TAC02 and my ASW TAC2, my switch, are complete. All right, and now I will change those. So now my local repository is above my repository that's on the internet. So if I went home and tried to pull it off the internet, it wouldn't be up to date. I'm just going to simply push that up to the internet. Eventually it will tell me, sweet, successfully pushed. So now on my GitHub account, I have my new file that is updated. Awesome. So we want to, last but not least, we want to verify connectivity through all devices. All right, so heading back to my my engineering notebook, I want to test connectivity. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my engineering notebook here. Let's try that again. Move things around a little bit for us to visibly see it. So I'm going to click on my first PC. All right, and I am going to click on the command prompt. And now I'm going to ping, and I want to ping my first switch. So to recall what that IP address is for my switch 1 is 1010. So I just type in 10.10.10.100. And I press my enter key, and it's trying to communicate now with my first switch, which is this switch right here. My first request timed out, but I was able to communicate. It sent 4, it received 3. If I use my up arrow and pinged it again, I probably will get all of mine successful. I don't know why the first one times out sometimes, but they're all successful now. Sorry for that bell in the background. I apologize for that. But I can actually communicate with my switch 1. I'm going to try to ping my switch 2 by going to here and typing in 150. That's the IP address of switch 2. So it's trying to communicate with it. Did my request? I'm pinging with it. It is actually pinging. So last but not least, I'm going to try to ping my my last computer, my user 2, this computer right here from PC 1 by going to 10.5 there and press my enter key. And it is pinging. So I am communicating with all of my end devices, which are known as the PC, as well as my intermediary devices, my switches. My switches are secure. All right, they have passwords to get into them. They are encrypted. Everything is secure, and I am satisfied that my... All right, sorry for that announcement going over the PA, but the joys of working at school. So I'm done. I'm done with this exercises. I feel confident. Again, my engineering notebook was on point. I was able to do all of the things that I needed to do based on my research that I put in my engineering notebook from previous projects. So great skills. We are securing our network, you guys. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Have a great day.